Love introduces us to death long before we're ready, not by taking, but by attaching.
I love you.
Most people don't think about death, not because they're brave, not because they've made peace with it, but because thinking about death forces you to notice how you're living. It asks questions you can't scroll past, questions you can't mute, questions you can't answer with productivity or noise. So instead, we stay distracted. We fill time. We chase comfort. We postpone meaning until something happens, until silence becomes unavoidable. And suddenly, life feels sharper, more fragile, more real. Anyone can live distracted. In fact, most people do. Distraction is the default state of modern life. Noise fills every gap. Screens absorb every quiet moment. Busyness becomes an identity. We confuse motion with progress and stimulation with purpose. But death does something strange. It cuts through everything. It doesn't arrive with an announcement. It doesn't give you time to prepare the right words. It doesn't wait for closure. Death arrives quietly, in an unanswered message, in a phone call that changes tone halfway through, in routines that suddenly feel hollow. A chair stays empty. A name stops appearing on your screen. A voice you expected to hear again doesn't. And in that moment, focus returns. Not because you want it to, but because illusion no longer holds. The future collapses into the present. Suddenly, all the things you thought mattered feel lighter, and the things you ignored feel unbearably heavy. Death has a way of reorganizing reality. It strips life down to essentials. What did I say? What did I avoid? Who did I love fully? And who did I assume would always be there? This is why people fear death. Not because it ends life, but because it exposes it. Death reminds you of something we spend most of our lives forgetting. Time is borrowed, not owned, not guaranteed, not replenishable. Borrowed. Every morning you wake up, you're spending something you didn't earn and can't replace. Yet we treat time like it's endless. We delay conversations. We postpone honesty. We assume tomorrow will be available. We say things like, I'll do it later. There's still time. We'll talk eventually. But death doesn't care about intention. It doesn't care about what you meant to say, or what you planned to do, or who you were going to become. It only cares about what existed. Moments don't repeat. Conversations don't rewind. Opportunities don't regenerate. When someone dies, time becomes visible. You suddenly see how many moments slip through your hands unnoticed. Not because you were careless, but because you were human. And that's the cruel irony. You don't realize how valuable something is until it becomes unavailable. This is where love enters the conversation, because love is what makes death hurt. If you never love anything deeply, death remains abstract. It's only when you care that mortality becomes personal. The moment you love someone, you enter into a quiet agreement with loss. Not consciously, not willingly, but inevitably. To love is to attach meaning to something temporary. That's the risk. Every laugh becomes fragile. Every habit becomes a memory in progress. every shared future becomes conditional. Love is not ignorance of death. Love is defiance of it. You love even though you know it can end. And that's not weakness. That's courage. We don't talk about this enough. We talk about love as comfort, as warmth, as safety. But love is also exposure. It opens you up to the one thing you cannot control: loss. This is why some people avoid love. Not because they're cold, but because they're afraid. Afraid of what loving something fully might cost them. So they stay guarded, detached, half present. They protect themselves from pain by protecting themselves from meaning. But protection has a price. When death takes someone you love, grief follows. And grief is misunderstood. We treat grief like a disease, something to fix, something to get over, something to move past as quickly as possible. But grief is not the opposite of love. Grief is love with nowhere left to go. It's love that has lost its direction. It's the echo of connection after the source has gone silent. Grief hurts because love was real. If it didn't hurt, it would mean nothing mattered. And that would be the true tragedy. Grief slows you down. It disrupts productivity. It interrupts routines. It makes the world feel slightly off balance. And that's exactly what it's supposed to do. Grief forces you to feel what you've been avoiding. It demands presence. It refuses to be rushed. You don't heal from grief. You integrate it. You learn how to carry it quietly, gently, with time. When someone dies, something strange happens. They don't disappear. They change form. They become memory. Not static memory, living memory. In the way you react to situations, in the advice you hear in your head, in the values you carry forward without realizing where they came from. They survive in habit, in the way you make coffee, in the route you take home, in the pauses you didn't have before. They survive in perspective, in what you no longer take seriously, in what you suddenly protect fiercely. Death removes presence, but it does not erase influence. People don't vanish, they become quieter, and sometimes more powerful. Because absence teaches. It teaches what mattered, what was fragile, what was worth protecting. Love doesn't disappear when someone dies. It transforms. Over time, grief changes texture. The sharpness dulls. The weight becomes familiar. And something else appears. Gratitude. Not the forced kind, not the everything happens for a reason kind, but a softer gratitude for having loved at all, for having shared something real in a world that so often feels superficial. This gratitude doesn't erase pain. It coexists with it. It's quieter, stronger, more grounded. You stop asking, why did this happen? And start asking, what did this give me? Love leaves you changed, and change is proof of meaning. Mortality doesn't mean panic. It doesn't mean living frantically or obsessing over the clock. It means living deliberately. It means saying what needs to be said while voices are still available. It means choosing presence over distraction. It means understanding that love is not endless, so it must be intentional. You don't need to rush life, but you do need to respect it. Urgency isn't about speed, it's about priority. Here is the truth we avoid. Everything meaningful comes with an ending, and yet we still choose to love. We still attach. We still care. We still build lives around people who are temporary. That choice is not naive. It's human. Meaning isn't found in forever. It's found in presence, in choosing to care even when the ending is guaranteed. Love teaches us how to live. Death teaches us why it mattered. And between the two, we learn how to be awake.